mentioned, so your dad was a residential school survivor, and he didn't want to talk much about that.
No.
I assume many people listening to this or watching this either never heard of residential schools or still don't really understand what it was, or even if they do, they don't realize how deep the consequences were in the families of those people who actually went to those schools. And some of them never came back, right?
Yes.
What is a residential school, or what was a residential school, just for people to understand?
Yeah, Indian residential schools was they weren't really schools, they were institutions, and it was federal government driven to basically remove every Indian child out of the homes across Canada, put them in these schools they're trying to remove our language and culture and our ways of life, and they wanted to put us into mainstream Canada of the day. And yes, a lot of abuse happened in those schools. A lot of trauma came out of those schools, and children came out with probably like PTSD, what we call it today, a lot of trauma. A lot of the children couldn't handle it. They really send them down the wrong road when they were actually able to leave the school. A lot turned to basically alcohol in the day and suicides, and my dear friends that I had as a teenager didn't survive. They all committed suicide. So I lost a lot of good friends. But my father, like I said, he never spoke about it. He spoke about it once for like 15 minutes. And that was it. He never spoke about it again.
What did he say in 15 minutes?
What happened to him in school?
Oh,
in that school.
So he did tell you.
Yes, he explained everything, and that was it. It ended like we didn't even speak about it. He never spoke about it again, never mentioned it again, never brought it up in any other conversation. And, I got to witness the federal government doing the apology to the Indigenous people in Canada. Thought about my father. He didn't get to survive long enough to hear that. But in here I was talking to him, telling him that, Canada finally apologized. So we're dealing with, ripple effects of the residential schools. We're still dealing with the outfall of that, of, alcoholism, violence, family traumas. It stems all from the era of those schools.
Mm-hmm.
And
some you didn't mention all the bodies that were discovered.
Yeah, we'll get to my career, but when I was in the RCMP, those stories came out because I spent 3 years investigating the Indian residential schools, and I got to interview many, many survivors of that day, and they spoke about graves. They spoke about babies being born in those schools, and so we all kind of knew something did happen, but where were the bodies? Children were dying there. Where's the bodies? And, but once our investigations were over, our files, we just didn't see them anymore. But then somebody discovered them. There are bodies there. Then the numbers started to grow. So the stories that I heard from people I interviewed are true.
Sure, there.
And I'm sure they weren't lying to me when they were talking to me, because they're witnesses. They're trying to tell me the truth about what happened to them and what they seen in those schools. So, and I did reach out to some friends out there across Canada and said, maybe you should look at all these police files that were completed. The investigations were done, and I believe that some of the offenders were charged and found guilty. Someone should look at them and compare to what are they finding at these residential schools across Canada. maybe they might find some little piece that might help them when they're searching for grave sites.